awesome. That's what I wanted. Or did I? Of course, right? Of course I do. But it comes with it's a yin and a yang, baby. That's what it is. It all comes with its ups and downs. But I wouldn't trade it. I love it. They're my rock. They're the reason I'm doing this. I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for them. I really wouldn't. I mean, I'd be painting, but I wouldn't do it at the pace that I do it if it wasn't for them. They allow me to do it to this pace in both ways, spiritually and physically, and spiritually, mentally, I guess, physically. Woo, baby, it's hot. I put heaters here so it gets hot. I have to keep drinking water. Hey, thank you so much, Emily. Yeah, I mean, it seems right. It seems like I'm so lucky. Like there's days that I'm like, oh my God, it's so lucky. And then there's days that I'm like, I wish I was painting by myself. Get out of here, everybody. And then I take it back. Where do you sell your works? I sell my works in different places, but right now I'm putting a lot of emphasis, lots of emphasis on eBay auctions. I've come to a place where I figured how to do eBay auctions, and I've developed an audience there, a super awesome audience, and my paintings are people love them there. So and it pays well for me. I've talked about this many times. It doesn't pay well for a lot of people, but somehow I figured out how to work it out for me. I tried helping other people, and other people have a hard time doing it. And some people pull it off. It's not that the place is not for them necessarily. It's that it's the wrong vehicle for them. I talked about it in another video where if you are a good writer, you know, you should probably focus on writing articles and blogs. You shouldn't try to be doing a podcast, or, I mean, you should do it, but don't put your energy, all your energy there, if what you're good at is writing. I'm very good at direct sales. I know how to do direct sales. I know I'm like pontificating here, but I just got good at it. You know, I got very good at it, and so eBay is a place where if you know how to make a great offer, and you know how to talk to people, and you know how to make it swift for them, right? And if the artwork is right, and there's a lot of conditions that need to be right, it works. Right? If the conditions are right, it's going to work. And those conditions usually have to do with your strengths. There's a lot of people that paint as good as me, better than me, as fast as me. I know a lot of people that paint as fast as me, but can't make it on eBay. They just can't. It doesn't work for them. So it's not about the speed. It's not about, no. It's just about, is it the right vehicle for you? Yes or no. And it's not for a lot of people, and it is for some people. What is the average price for one of your pieces? The average price for one of my pieces, if I sell one of, like this one, when I sell it, it goes for $300-400. When I auction it, I don't know. Auctions are hit or miss. Joseph Walker Art says, I bet your dad or your uncle had great selling skills. My dad is very good at numbers. My dad, surprisingly, he never went to school, but he's a master mathematician. I had no idea how he's so good at it. He's extremely well at numbers, and he always taught me how to think in quantities and how to multiply. And so that helps a lot. And my brother is a very successful, one of my brothers is a very successful entrepreneur. He's got a fairly large company, and I learned a lot from him. My mother, however, she was just a fucking go-getter. If something wasn't happening her way, she went and made it happen. And so my mom had some mad selling skills. Her dad was a very successful entrepreneur in Mexico. He was a rancher in the 1940s, 1950s. My parents were very old, and he was a very successful rancher. And he had at any given time he had about 200 workers working for him at any given day, and so that made him very astute. He was very astute. He was very good at business. And so my mom used to ride with him. I mean, these were ranchers, okay? These were people that used to ride in horses back and forth and everywhere. They had trucks and whatnot, but that's not their lifestyle. Was horse. They were horse people. And so my mom used to tell me stories about how she used to ride with him to make deals, to go make deals when he was making deals. And so she learned a lot. She learned a lot. And she didn't teach me as in, here, sit down, I'm going to show you. She taught me by looking at how she behaved. And so that helps a lot, guys. I'm not saying I've had some people work for me that went to marketing school, that graduated from school of marketing and whatnot, and a lot of the stuff that they know is theory. And I found out that a lot of the stuff that they're missing is experience. When you do something, you learn. It's not when you read about something, you don't learn. It's when you do it. When you move something, right? That's why I made that video for other artists, and I posted it for free online on YouTube for other artists to start generating some sort of income for their artwork. Because if you move something, if you move from this to there, anything, if you move this here, you learn something. You can't learn that through reading it. And so action is really the ultimate teacher. Lots of small fails. Lots of small fails. Small little small fails that don't kill you. You have to make lots of those. If they kill you, you can't play the game. So you have to make little fails that won't kill you, that won't get you out of the game. Yeah, absolutely. Entrepreneurial influence is what really has helped me. Early on, when I became an artist, I started noticing that's what was missing. And the people that I was trying to learn from, there's a lot of people out there trying to teach how to sell artwork and on and on and on. And what I started noticing is that none of them were selling artwork. None of the ones that I saw anyways. They were selling courses on how to sell art, not artwork. And so, I mean, it doesn't take a genius to see that. It just takes, I think it takes for you to stop chasing secret formulas. You know, it's very tempting to start chasing secret formulas. Like, oh my God, this person knows the answer. No one knows the answer. The answer is action. It's just that some people have done it. And so it looks like they have an answer, but they don't really have an answer. They have an answer for what's working for them. And so I've noticed this common thread amongst people that were teaching. I'm like, these people. If you want to learn how to sell art, how to sell courses on how to sell art to artists, by all means, learn from them. Okay, I will repeat myself again. If you want to learn how to sell courses on how to sell art to artists, learn from them. But if you want to learn how to sell art, you're barking at the wrong tree. They can't teach you shit. They themselves don't sell art. You'll never learn how to sell art from someone who does not sell art. You'll learn what do they call this? Principles on selling, and anyone can teach you how to sell. But specifically, how to go and sell art comes from experience. It doesn't come from theory. And don't get me wrong, someone who sells tomatoes can teach you how to sell art, of course, right? Of course. But they themselves had better done it. Someone who's selling tomatoes or candy or I don't know, real estate or whatever, they can teach you how to sell art. Of course they can. Of course. Of course they can. They can teach you how to sell. But if you really want to learn how to sell art, you have to learn from someone who's done it. Yeah, they have to understand the space, because there's also knowing the space, right? You have to know the space. You have to understand how that space works. And so I learned early on, don't take advice from anyone who's not where you want to be. Just don't. It's impossible. It's not. It sounds great in theory. Oh, look, this person told me to do this. It sounds great in theory, but if they haven't done it, the advice is going to be misleading. That's what I got to say about that. Joseph J. Walker Art says, so you're saying fail, and fail again until you succeed in finding your own unique formula? Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm saying. Because what works for me is not going to work for someone else. The same exact way. You can learn principles, and I can tell you, hey, go fail as many times as you can here. Go fail as many times as you can here. You know, I know different formulas that have worked for me on making income selling artwork. 6 figures here. I've learned how to make 6 figures here. I learned how to make 6 figures over here. And another 6 figures here. Yearly, right? I learned how to do that. But this is how I got there. I failed. Boom, it started working. Okay, repeat it. Fail. Boom, it starts working. And that's basically, I think that's the formula to do anything. As long as the failing doesn't kill you. As long as you don't put all the chips so that it kills you, you have to put all the chips so that you can come back and fail again tomorrow. The failing cannot be lethal, because if the failing's lethal, you can't play the game anymore. So, for example, the people that are doing cold calls, right? People that are like, oh, I'm gonna go do cold calls to sell. Anyone who does cold calls knows that no matter how great of a closer you are, it's bullshit. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. What matters is how many phone calls you make. You can be great till you can be a great closer till you're blue in the face. But at some point, you can't get better at being great. What you have to get better at is at being frequent. At some point, you cannot get better at it. You have to become frequent. Because when you make that cold call, 90% of those people are not even going to answer the fucking phone. And 10% of the people that answer, 90% of that 10% is going to hang up on you. No matter how great you are at talking to people, or the speed in which you talk, and the way that you add a report or whatever, it doesn't matter. At some point, it's going to come down to how many phone calls you make. And then the fact that you're good at it, absolutely a numbers game. But it's a controlled numbers game, right? Because you have to be good at it. If you suck at it, you can make 1,000 phone calls and still can't pull it off if you suck at it. So it's a combination. You have to be good at it, but get frequent, right? And a lot of people miss either one. They say, I want to learn how to sell my artwork, but they never get good at this shit first. There's a lot of people that never get good at this. And there's a lot of artists that get extremely good at this, but don't ever get frequent enough. And frequency looks different in different places. For example, there's a lot of artists who get really good at creating artwork. You don't need to get frequent at creating artwork. You have to, at some point, you have to get frequent at showing it, or frequent at talking to galleries, or frequent at having gallery shows, or frequent on Instagram, or frequent on Facebook, or frequent on all of them. If you like my cup of tea. And frequency plus talent or skill, whatever you want to call it, it's almost always a winning formula. And so the way that in which you apply frequency is your personal game. I believe that everyone has to learn how to juggle. This is a game about juggling. You have to learn how to juggle. How much do I paint? How many times do I show up on Twitter? How many times do I show up on Facebook? How many times do I have a gallery show a year? That's your personal formula, how you juggle it. What I teach is, get good at this. Here's how you get frequent at that. Here's how you get frequent and good at it, right? Because you can get frequent, but then you have to also know how to pitch, right? You have to dial in. If you don't penetrate, the message doesn't go through. Someone asks here, what do you think of some having a talent, but it's about 40 to start skills? Skills is not something that you have to worry about. Skills is fast. Skills is the fastest thing to learn. Skills don't take a long time to learn. Guys, where we waste most of our time is not in skill learning. It's in procrastination. All time gets lost in procrastination. The time does not get lost in skill building. The time gets lost in you hearing this message and going another 3 years thinking about it. The time goes, where you lose time is in the procrastination of it. It's not a matter of skills. It's not a matter, no. Do you need them? Of course. Of course. You know? If we were to play, I don't know, war, of course I would want you to be a good shot. But at some point, you can only be a good